Choosing to do the title of the opening scene for a film taught me mainly how to use a camera for filming, since I'd done photography before for magazine covers, so I was fairly confident in that, and therefore I wanted to expand my knowledge and learn how to record, edit, produce, upload moving images, which is something that I've never done before. I realised the importance of how much research is needed in order to create a film which makes sense when you analyse it. For example, our prelim group task really helped me realise that you need to have a reason as to why you're going to do everything that you do. So why you use the specific camera angles, the lighting, what it suggests, and the costume and what it connotes about that main character. I learned how to create a title sequence through researching and watching existing title sequences of successful movies, which included having the company production names followed by the directors or the writers and then the stars, and then always having the title of the film come up last of the typography. So even choosing the font alone is important in setting your audience's mind in the right frame set, depending on your chosen genre. When it came to actually filming, I discovered that there were a lot of practical issues, such as where the lighting was hitting the room when I was filming, and background sound noises. So if there were like birds or dogs or cars driving past, I needed to do multiple takes of that scene so that I could edit those out later on. At one point I had to add some special effects in, because originally where I'd had Blaze walking into the kitchen and there was the sound of her drinking and taking some pills, I then had to get those sounds as sound effects off the computer, because I wasn't getting the loud enough sound from the microphone and it wasn't giving me the desired noise that I wanted. Then I also realised how much your location might affect the way that you end up filming the camera shots you need. In my case, I wanted to film the fish tank scene with a shot reverse shot, so the camera would point up towards Blaze from one side of the fish tank, and then she would look down onto the fish in the other, which was fine. That shot was fine, but obviously the fish tank was against the wall, so then I had to move my props about so that it was more central on the table so that I could get behind it, and then I had to make it look as if I hadn't moved it at all. So when I was recording Blaze, I'd moved it back to its original position. Also, I found that when Blaze was walking around a lot, it was affecting the camera's focus, so I had to reconsider if I'd then add multiple shots in to capture her as she's walking along, or if I should just cut them bits out and record them again, or try and focus the camera midway. So these are all things that I had to reconsider, which I hadn't actually planned on doing in the first place. When it came to editing my videos, which I believe I progressed the most in, I had to consider what I'd seen successful movies do. So, for example, why they've used those montage of images in that order, how they faded the following scene's dialogue into the previous. All of this I had to consider in my movies, so that it would give a smooth transition. So, for example, when Blaze walks away from the kitchen towards the TV and she goes to turn it on, I had the sound of the TV overlap that right at the very end, so that the camera shots don't just jump to the next scene. Like I said, it gives a smoother transition for the audience, and it's nicer on the eyes to watch. Also, the opening scene where I shot Blaze at the front door, I used the door slam to cut off that shot completely so that the next scene was silent. So that is the opposite effect. It smoothly breaks the outdoor noises and shows that we've gone indoors. It also shows that that's later on during the day rather than being shot straight after. Since she comes from upstairs coming downstairs, even though she's just answered the front door, but that cut off and the pause between from when we next see her makes sense in the audience's mind. In other words, as I added that zoom in effect, why my protagonist wears that specific costume, and why I started with a blurry black screen as my opening shot, I have to question how does that support a typical thriller convention. Lastly, I would say that I've learned that your ideas will always change, whether it's because you thought of a better idea or practical issues get in the way, or there are other restrictions you've discovered that you hadn't thought of before. The storyboard that you start off with will not be how your film ends up at all, which is a good thing because your first idea isn't always your best idea and it won't be your last. And creating a film is a journey, and you will come up with new ideas and new influences. So it's about having that basic structure as support and as a idea to keep you on track for what your aim, goal or desire is, but then allowing to mould it and having other people's feedback to help you improve it yourself, because in your mind or frame you'll think that it's a really good idea, but to other people they might not get what you're trying to show in your film. So it's about that practical process of learning as you go, rather than setting something in stone and aiming for only that as your final product.